Hello and welcome to our VIP reading book chat. Tonight with me we've got Ben from the VIP reading team and we've got Valda as well. So we're going to be talking to you about Jan Pienkowski, his masterpiece, The Haunted House, which is one of my all-time favorite books. So we're going to start tonight with a reading of the book by Ben.
Come in, Doctor. Yes, it is a quaint old place. Chilly, though. I seem to have lost my appetite. Maybe something didn't agree with me. I can't seem to settle down. In fact, I can't sit still for 2 minutes. No, I don't have many visitors. I'm not sleeping very well. My old bones seem to be playing up again. Do you think it's all imagination? Doctor? Doctor, where are you?
So should we start with Ben? What were your sort of first thoughts of reading The Haunted House? How were your first impressions?
My first impression was to look through the book without reading it. I didn't even notice there were words at the bottom. I was so encapsulated, I suppose, by the pop-up mechanisms and how many there were and how intricate they were. So I spent about 10 or 15 minutes with my children just looking through it and playing with all the little bits that moved. It wasn't until afterwards I realised there's actually a story underneath. So yeah, I thought that's pretty cool. The story itself is, yeah, it's a bit creepy. You're wondering who's talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it.
Thanks, Ben. Valda, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so very similar to Ben in that, sort of just mesmerised by actually the pop-up mechanisms and the illustrations and not really seeing the story at first. It is a book that I am sort of familiar with, in the Testaments of Time. But yeah, and just that idea of who is the Doctor, and that creepiness of what actually happens to the visitor to the house. I do think it's the longevity of this book is around that. You can just immerse yourself in it, and there are elements of it that for all children there's that spookiness, so it doesn't matter which page you're on, you can sort of empathize with how that character might be feeling at that stage in the story. But I think the illustrations are just, there's just so much, isn't there, to dive into.
I think you're right that, and both of you have touched on something that for me, there's so many layers to the book that it does make you, each time you revisit the title. I revisited it recently when we did Zoom session with schools, and many children hadn't seen it before. And I was surprised at how many children were unfamiliar with the story and how many teachers as well. And that was, for me, one of the reasons why when it, coming up to Halloween, I thought this is going to be a great title to include in the box.
My youngest, who's 2, Otis, he made me keep going over and doing all the little, all the action. He especially loved the ghost in the bedroom scene because it's just so well hidden and how it kind of comes alive.
Yeah.
They really enjoyed it.
In fact, I think me and my siblings and I had a similar sort of, we've used it that many times that actually the mechanism now doesn't, it just about works. It's not quite as smooth as it used to be. And likewise, as the mechanism towards the end, on the final page, on a new book, you can really hear the saw in action. And, I suppose it's a sign of a well-loved book.
All I was going to say is, the fact of sort of a pop-up book with so many mechanisms in it I think that's the beauty and the joy of it for children, isn't it? You know, and us as adults being able to explore each page and just be mesmerized by the, you know, the fact that there is that interaction. And as you say, that last page when you can hear the saw cutting through that box, and you're just like, ooh, you know, yeah.
Ben, did you have a passage that you thought, you know, or a particular page that sort of stuck with you?
Well, there were two really. I think the bedroom scene with the old bones in the closet, I thought that was very clever. And then there's the sneaky cat that kind of, when you open up the roof, the ceiling, and the sneaky cat comes out of the eyes. That was really smart. And obviously with the ghost that kind of just appears from nowhere.
Yeah.
That and the last page as well. With the way the bat just flies out of the page, and like I said, the saw action, which unfortunately on mine doesn't work anymore because my children are quite heavy-handed. So they've kind of destroyed it a little bit. But yeah, really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, sort of exploring the book, the bit for me was the, you know, when you can turn the wheel and the clock, the hands of the clock go round, and there's the fireplace, you know, you can see something happening in the fireplace. I just thought it was just, you know, it's a very tactile book. You know, there's just so much. And as you said, you do something on one page and you're sort of flicking back to see what's going on, you know, and has that made something happen elsewhere? And it's, yeah, and I've got to be honest, the same as Ben, that last page where the bat just pops out and then you hear the saw. Yeah, just wonderfully creepy and magnificent book, isn't it?
All right, so in a few words, why should people read The Haunted House? So, Ben, do you want to go first?
Wow, a few words. It's amazing. It is absolutely intriguing. Every page is a new adventure, and you're always finding new things and different things to marvel at. So I would highly recommend this book.
Thanks, Ben. Valda.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Ben there. It's just a sensational sort of book. The spookiness, that storyline, and then just find a character and see what happens to them as you go through. And each time you read the book, there's going to be something new to discover. It's just brilliant.